Hello everyone, welcome to today's live stream. So, I've actually just noticed, I just hit the microphone, I need to shut that on. I'm going a bit grey, I don't know why. Something is up I think with my camera. But yes, so today we have a Falcon 9 rocket going off to I can't even remember. Where is it? I've got my notes here. Let me just see. I think it was going to low Earth orbit. I can't actually remember. Here we go. Here's the details we need. So, it is going to... is this a... Oh, this is an expendable booster, is it? Oh wow. Okay. Let me just. My camera's now all gone funny. I believe this is an expendable booster. I got something in my eye. It's just really annoying me. Ooh, are they just refining? Wow, this should be rather interesting. Where are we? Oh, it's a geosynchronous transfer orbit. It doesn't say it's going to land back, so... Nice. Right, I'm going to put their sound on.
Launch marks our 190th mission overall to date, and our 52nd launch this year. Now, my name is Shiva, and I'm a space operations engineer here at SpaceX, and I'm joining you today from our headquarters in Hawthorne, California.
Hawthorne, California.
Continues Intelsat's Galaxy Fleet Refresh Plan, which started with Galaxy 30 in 2020. These assets will provide continuity for C-band media services.
I'm just reading what they actually
are. The Galaxy 31 and 32 satellites were manufactured by
so it's just C-band
and are scheduled to enter into service in early 2023. Here's more about the payloads we're flying on today's mission.
So I've got a picture of them on the right screen. Let's see if I can put it over. There you go. So that's what they look like. So there's these two together. They look quite cool. So it's just like TV satellite broadcasters, basically. They look quite cool. So they've got their own little engine on them. You can see it's just there in the red. Come on, try it again. There. That's its own little engine, so it puts itself in its own orbit, which is pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Supporting Intel. So it's just like here in the UK, we use Sky TV, which uses the Astra satellite constellation. Ah, pretty cool. Trying to see if I can get some more. So where are we? Slick 40. This is where it's taken from Kennedy Cape Canaveral Space Force Center, or station as it's called.
We're just about 7 minutes away from liftoff, so let's get to know a little bit more about the launch vehicle. Now, the Falcon 9 you see on the pad is a two-stage rocket designed and manufactured by SpaceX for the reliable and safe transport of both payloads and people into
Yep, they can take people.
Now, as a reminder, Falcon 9 is the world's first orbital class reusable rocket, and reusability is important because it allows us to refly the most expensive parts of the vehicle. That in turn is what allows us to drive down the cost of access to space. Now, the entire vehicle stands 229 feet tall. That's slightly taller than the towers of Westminster Abbey in England.
Stage 1, RP1 load complete.
Really?
The bottom two-thirds of the vehicle is called the first stage. It's also known as the booster. Now, its job is to accelerate the vehicle from the pad through the Earth's atmosphere into space, and then it'll separate from the rest of the rocket.
That is mad.
Today's booster is flying for its 14th time, previously having supported Dragon's first crew demonstration mission, the RadarSat Constellation mission, Sirius XM7, and 10 previous Starlink missions.
See, they're just
if you look closely at this rocket,
so
you see
many.
that we don't have any landing legs here or grid fins
yeah,
on
it's
this
stripped
first
down.
stage, and that's because we won't be attempting to land this first stage today. Today's mission requires additional propellant that we would normally use for recovery, and so we're going to be using that propellant
pretty cool.
to take the payloads
You can just strip parts off
now,
and make it expendable.
Above the first stage, we've got our second stage that has a single Merlin vacuum or MVAC engine that ignites shortly after the first stage will separate. And it's the second stage that will carry the Intelsat Galaxy 31 and 32 satellites to orbit. Now, the payload for today's launch are enclosed inside the 17-foot diameter payload fairing, which is that nose cone structure at the very top of the second stage.
Right there.
It's made of a carbon composite material, and it protects the satellites as we make our way to orbit. We'll jettison those fairing halves approximately 3 minutes into the flight, and both of those fairing halves are flight proven, having flown, both of them flying for their 5th times. We'll be attempting to recover them after separation on a recovery vessel named Bob.
Hey, Bob.
Now, lastly, that large truss structure next to the vehicle is called the transporter erector, or the TE. We use it to roll the rocket out to the pad and raise it to its vertical launch position.
Auto has started.
Now, the TE routes vehicle fluids, power, and telemetry from the ground systems to the rocket, and that continues until Falcon 9 switches over to internal power and clears the pad.
Okay, something is going
you
wrong.
might be able to see it there. We've begun to open the clamp arms around the second stage. That's in preparation for transporter erector retract. And that's where the TE will begin to slightly back away from the stage to clear the way for liftoff.
This is going to be really weird, seeing the booster not actually come back down.
At T-0,
it's just very weird. After seeing Falcon 9, you know,
and you can see there the TE making a small angle
last month, last month. It's been a while since that. It's so weird to see they're just going to expend the booster. So they're going really high on this one.
We use a helium pressurant on the on Falcon 9 to pressurize the base.
That looks so cool.
Now, at this point in the countdown, we are nearly fully loaded with about 1 million pounds of RP1 fuel. That's a type of refined kerosene.
Stage 1, lock scope complete.
And liquid oxygen on the vehicle. We just heard the call out there that liquid oxygen loading is complete on the first stage. We'll hear a similar call out for liquid oxygen loading complete on the second stage. Now, Falcon 9 uses rocket propellant 1 as its fuel and liquid oxygen as its oxidizer. An oxidizer is a type of chemical that a fuel requires to burn, and we chill that liquid oxygen significantly below its boiling point. That allows us to load more mass per volume into the vehicle and get more propellant and performance out of the rocket. Now, in addition to both the RP1 and liquid oxygen, we use a chemical called TTEB, triethyl aluminum and triethyl borane, as an ignition source. When we combine those two chemicals, they they produce a hot flame and ignite the RP1 and liquid oxygen to make the rocket go. Coming up, we're about 10 seconds away from liquid oxygen loading complete on the second stage. With that call out, we will be completely loaded with propellants for flight.
2 minutes. 2 minutes till launch. It's just going to be really weird. We've seen now what we saw Falcon Heavy last month expend the core booster, and then this one they're basically the same.
We'll see some venting from the transporter erector coming up here. And just a quick status update, both the payloads continuing to look healthy. Weather 90% go. It's a beautiful day in Florida today.
Chucking
for that on-time liftoff.
A pole.
There you can see on this wide-angle shot, you can see some venting
Ground gas launch closeout.
from the transporter erector. We're clearing out the liquid oxygen from the lines in preparation.
There you
for
go,
liftoff.
guys. Have a look at the pole, see what you think.
About 20 seconds from now, we'll have our next major milestone.
Will it go boom?
That's where Falcon 9.
That is always the big question.
Will take control of the countdown.
So.
That's where Falcon 9 transitions to startup.
Oh, we're so close. Them clouds look quite dark over the back.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
They're gonna go for it.
So from here, the launch team will provide their final go for liftoff.
Come on. So, come on. There you go. We're gonna get some gorgeous views today because the cloud cover.
LD, go for launch.
Hey, we go for launch.
The director giving their final go for launch.
T-minus 30 seconds.
D-minus 30 seconds.
Let's watch as Falcon 9 takes Intelsat Galaxy 31 and 32 to orbit.
Here we go.
15 seconds. T-minus 10, 9, 8,
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
And liftoff of Intelsat.
Oh,
Galaxy
nice! Look
31
at that.
and 32. Go Falcon
I said,
9.
put that exposure down. Jeez.
Vehicles pitching downrange.
See, I was talking to someone the other day, and I was saying about how slow the Falcon 9 looks. Like, even the Falcon Heavy looked quite slow. Oh, look, it's another bird in the camera track. Oh, there we go. Oh, look at that, pushing through the clouds. That's nice. Go on, it's going to come out the cloud again. There you go. That looks sick.
Liftoff of Falcon 9 from Space Launch Complex 40 at the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida. We're carrying the Intelsat Galaxy 31 and 32 payloads to orbit.
Look at
we've
that.
just begun throttling down the Merlin 1D engines in preparation for maximum dynamic pressure. And we've also begun to tilt the engines. That's called gimbaling. And that's why we've begun to move horizontally away from the launch pad. That's
Hey, Stuart. Hello. You should hear your comment in a second.
Max Q,
Wow,
that's
so
the
good.
point of maximum aerodynamic pressure.
It is.
Now, briefly going back
This
to
is
the
a very
gravity
different
curve, we are
rocket
still
launch than
heading
normal,
up.
Stuart.
As you can
They're
see,
actually going to
the
just,
speed and
the whole
altitude are
thing's going to
increasing, but we're also
waste.
heading away from the launch pad.
They're not going to.
Rolf, you all right?
And we do that because a rocket needs to go about 17,500 miles an hour horizontally.
Nightbot
in order
has
to avoid
told you off.
back to planet Earth. So we'll keep speeding up the
Nightbot.
vehicle to get to
But
orbit.
Stuart Rolf to not on my watch.
Now coming
Stop
up in
spamming
about a
caps
minute,
warning.
we've got 3 events
Nightbot.
back to back.
But Stuart Rolf
That
to
is
piece
main
of
engine
cake.
cutoff,
Stop spamming
followed
caps
by
warning.
stage separation, and then second engine start.
Yeah, Stuart. Nightbot doesn't
Main
like
engine cutoff is where we'll shut
people
down
using
all 9 of the Merlin 1D engines on the first
capital
stage.
letters for some reason.
That's in preparation for stage
But yeah,
separation,
I'm all
where
good.
the-
I'm all
the
good.
first stage
I'm
will
happy.
Push off the second stage.
So normally at
and
this
then
point
the
we
second
would
engine
see
starts
the
number 1,
booster
where we'll ignite the Merlin vacuum
land
engine
back
on
down
the
on the
second
drone
stage.
ship, but they're not doing that today. They're just gonna
So again,
expend
MECO,
it,
main engine cutoff, followed by stage separation.
which
and
is
then
so
SES
weird
flight.
to think they're actually gonna do a
Gotta love those
typical
beautiful
rocket
views.
launch.
This is a view from the first stage camera.
Oh, look at
looking
that.
down the body of the first stage towards planet Earth. You can see the Merlin 1D's
You
plume
gotta look-
expanding as
Stuart
the
Rolf.
density gets less
No
and less.
way, completely waste of the environment. I'm an eco warrior now with my HEATPUMP.
Yes. Hey, this is gonna get deleted.
Stuart Rolf to you're starting to bug me. Stop spamming caps.
Back ignition. Stage 1 FTS.
Oh, that's good. So basically now that booster is just
So MECO,
gonna
stage sep, and second engine start complete.
fall back down.
Now coming up next in about 20 or so seconds, will be
He's
fairing
been putting the
separation.
time out. That's so funny.
Again, both of these fairing halves having flown 5 times.
Oh,
before today's
jeez.
mission.
So, do we get to see the booster camera? I would love to see the booster camera, see it like as long as we could. You know, see the signal before it starts like
Great view
burning
of
up in the
planet Earth
atmosphere.
behind the Merlin vacuum engine.
Oh, come on. Oh, so this is going to be fair and deploy.
Fairing separation
There you go.
confirmed.
So that is the
So there
satellites
is
there.
Successful fairing separation. We'll be attempting to recover those fairing
There they
halves.
go.
Again,
They're
once
off.
they make their way back to Earth on a recovery vessel named Bob.
Acquisition of
You can actually see one of the fairing halves in frame there as it goes back to planet Earth. We actually got our first glimpse of the payload as well today. As a reminder, we are not attempting landing on our first stage.
That's
So
so
the next major
weird.
milestone will be second engine cutoff number 1. That's about 4 minutes from now.
So
And
we
again, the
got
reason we're not attempting
one
to recover
vote.
our first
I'm going to
stage
say
today is
yes.
because today's
Well, it hasn't
payload
blown up.
needed a little more performance out of Falcon 9. And so we had to use the propellants that we would normally use
I'm going to end up whole
for
as
the entry burn
you know,
and
it
landing
hasn't
burn
actually
to
blown up.
instead take the payload to orbit.
Come on.
Now, the first of these 2 burns is taking us into what's called a parking orbit.
I was going to say,
So that is a roughly circular orbit that we'll be going into before we take a second burn later on in today's broadcast.
so if anyone's watched any of my like flight simulator stuff, this
And
right
ultimately,
here
the
is what
payloads will be
I
going
normally
to,
do with
what's
most of
called
my
a geostationary transfer
rocket
orbit
launches.
before they continue their mission onto
Oh, that's so
geostationary
cool.
orbit. So for this first burn, the
600,
Merlin vacuum
600
engine
seconds
is
it's better timed them
continuing
out
to burn
for.
and take the second stage and the payloads to orbit. Now, the Merlin vacuum engine is extremely similar to the Merlin 1D engines. It does feature more redundancy and a much larger expansion nozzle, and that allows us to maximize the efficiency of the burn in space. And the reason that expansion nozzle makes the burn more efficient is because we're able to expand the gases further in the vacuum of space than we are on the ground. On the ground, we've got about 14 pounds per square inch of pressure from the atmosphere pushing down on us. And
That's
so as you try to
hilarious.
expand the gas, you have to keep the pressure matching with that atmospheric pressure.
Oh,
And that means
what
you
I
can't
love
get as much push out
is
of the gas out of the nozzle.
people
But
see
in the vacuum of
this,
space, we don't have to contend with that.
and like you'll see it
And so we
like
can
sometimes
actually get
slide
more
back and
of the
forth.
force out of the expanding
And they say I was like the size of a dog.
push the second stage, and that increases the efficiency.
It's not the size of a
And
dog. It's probably
Merlin
about the size of a
vacuum
normal
operates with the
keyboard.
highest
It's just a bit of
efficiency
ice.
ever made for
That's
an
all it is.
American hydrocarbon rocket engine.
Because normally you see it, literally, it sort of
You
goes
may have
back and
noticed
forth.
on the pad that the second stage looks very similar to the first stage. It doesn't just look similar, it has
It
the same diameter,
pretty much is
it
the
uses
same.
the same metal composition in the tanks,
Yep.
the same computers, and the same propellants.
What's
and
that? Is that a
almost
bit of
the
ice
same
sticking off? I
engine.
think that is.
And that allows us to use similar
I really would
tooling,
love to be able to
design
see
techniques and
the
systems to build 2 rockets
booster
that are more
going in.
reliable. Anything that we learn on the
That
first
would be
stage
so cool.
often applies to the second stage and vice versa. Now, if you're just joining us, welcome. You're watching our webcast coverage of the Intelsat Galaxy 31-32 mission.
Trajectory is nominal.
You've got a view of the second stage Merlin vacuum engine, along with planet Earth behind us. We're about 4 minutes in to a 5-minute burn.
Damn.
We had successful liftoff, stage separation, and second engine start, as well as fairing separation from Space Launch Complex 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. And we didn't attempt to recover our first stage today as we needed the propellants
So,
for
I wonder if Elon will
additional
tweet.
performance to get our payloads to orbit.
Like, I wonder if they've actually got
Now we're
video
currently
footage.
awaiting second engine cutoff number 1 or SECO
Video
1.
footage of the booster
Coming
being
up
re-entered. Because that would be
About
really
20
cool.
seconds from now.
You know, you'd see all the plasma coming over the sides. It'd be really
Stage
cool
2
to see
FTS
that.
saved.
Right, here we go. So we got SECO 1 coming up in a second. And then what else is
Expected
it?
loss of signal Cape Canaveral. countdown.
There is successful confirmation of SECO-1. So now the teams are going to be evaluating the orbit that we're in.
This is probably where the
Make sure that we're right on
broadcast is
track.
going to stop.
Nominal orbit insertion.
And with that call out, we are in a nominal orbit. Again, this is the first orbit. It is a parking orbit in preparation for our next event. And since we didn't attempt to land our first stage today, the next major milestone will be ignition of our Merlin vacuum engine again. That's for second engine start number 2. Expected at about 26 minutes. Excuse me, about 26 minutes into the mission. So, until then, please enjoy the space tunes and the views from space.
Wow.
At about T+26.
They're actually going to keep going. That's actually quite surprising. But unfortunately, I have quite a few things to do today. I was actually expecting them just to end the broadcast. So I've actually planned some other things in about 15 minutes. So, unfortunately, I can't stay around, but go to SpaceX's YouTube channel, follow along for them. Yeah, I'm actually quite shocked. I really want to see footage of the booster re-entering from the booster's perspective, because they had the cameras on them, you know, everything was there. So, it'd be quite cool to see it. Right guys, thank you very much for watching. I'm Lee. Fly safe, land safer.